Welcome to Longevity Masters. I'm your host, Grant Hutchby, and as you know, this show exists to provide the formula for male founders to reclaim optimal years of life by reversing their biological age. Our mission is simple: to reclaim as many years of optimal life as possible in as many founders as possible. And today marks 1 year since Longevity Masters began. Over the past year, we've built the foundations of the primal pyramid, broken down the systems that govern your body, and challenged many of the myths that distort how successful men approach health and vitality. But today, I want to do something slightly different. I'm going to walk you through a personal experiment I've been running, my supplement cleanse. Not because supplements are bad, but because most people treat supplements like shortcuts instead of understanding the system they're trying to support. Over the last 12 weeks, I stopped what I was taking, measured the impact, and focused on the fundamentals that actually drive biological age. Today, I'll take you through what I changed, what happened, and what founders should really be thinking about when it comes to supplements. Let's dive in. I've taken supplements every day for over 20 years. Multivitamins, protein powders, creatine, omega-3, nootropics, longevity compounds, performance stacks, everything. It became as normal as brushing my teeth. But here's the thing that nobody in the supplement industry tells you. After 20 years, I had no idea what was actually working. I didn't know what my body needed. I didn't know what was pointless. And I also didn't know what might be masking a deeper problem. So I made a decision. On December the 8th, I stopped taking everything. Every powder, every capsule, every longevity compound, gone for 12 weeks. I ran my body on food, sleep, and training alone. And guess what? I tracked everything. What the data revealed changed how I think about health entirely. That's what I'm going to walk you through today. Before I show you the data, I want to ask you something honest. Does any of this sound familiar? Aches and pains you never used to have, your back, your shoulders, things that just appeared and never left. A softer body, fatter than you want to be. You can see it in the photos. You can see it in the mirror. But you tell yourself you'll sort it out next week, next month. But guess what? You never do. Foggy thinking. You used to be sharp, decisive. Now you're overthinking simple things and avoiding the big decisions. You're losing interest in the business that you've built. The thing that used to fire you up every morning now just feels like a grind. You're short-tempered at home, not present with your family. Your wife notices, your kids notice, you notice, but you're not sure how to fix it. And here's the one thing that really matters. Taking supplements, trying things, hoping that a pill will fix what actually is a systems problem. A pill on top of a broken system changes absolutely nothing. That's like trying to scale a business when the operations are in chaos. If any of this sounds like you, you might be aging faster than you should be. Guess what? This is me in 2023 when I started my longevity quest. I had money, but I was about 20 kilograms heavier than I wanted to be. I was foggy, on codeine painkillers because of my back, drinking, and sometimes not even present in the room. And then, this is me as of December 2025. 95 kilos, 15% body fat, clear-headed, training fasted every morning, and every decision that I made was run through data. It took a massive cash flow issue in my business at the beginning of 2023 for me to see what had gone wrong entirely, which was my biology. Let me give you the real story, not the highlights, the real truth. In 2006, I woke up in the middle of an asthma attack, so severe I genuinely thought I was going to die. I couldn't breathe. That was the first of 3 moments in my life where I truly knew My health was holding me back. Within weeks, I became a qualified personal trainer and sports injury therapist, and I worked with about 1,000 clients over a 6-year period. But then in 2012, I fell in what I like to call actually is the comfort trap. I stopped doing my personal training. I had my first son. I started earning decent money in corporate, and I basically drank loads of alcohol, ate loads of rubbish food, and I was comfortable, too comfortable. I drowned myself in work and my career because I didn't feel supported at home. That period, 2012 to 2015, is where I let myself go completely. 2015 was the second scare. I got divorced, and that was the moment I decided to change everything. I found Tony Robbins and I found Kay, the love of my life, who for the first time made me feel like me again, supported every goal, every ambition. So my health accelerated, my career accelerated, and I doubled my wage in a little under 2 years. Then in 2018, in 1 year, we launched our first real business, moved house with a full refurbishment, and got married. It was a monster year, and I wouldn't be where I am without it. But if I'd managed it better, I probably wouldn't have broken my back, got sciatica, and had unbearable pain. 2019, I finally left corporate for good, but I took a wealth of experience and achievements with me. And I couldn't have learned more without my corporate career. So it gave me a lot. But by 2021, I had a 7-figure business. We'd taken our short-term rental business to heights that I'd never expected. And I got myself 20 kilograms heavier than I am now. I was back on codeine, foggy, drinking, and not present. Then in 2023, this was the third scare, a cash flow crisis in my business. That was when I truly knew that I had to change everything again. Both my health and my business relied on me. And that's also when I found Property Entrepreneur and my current mentor, Dan Hill, who's been a massive part of this journey. Getting my body and business moving in the right direction in 2023 was the only reason that I was able to handle what came next. In 2024, we discovered a £300,000 fraud inside our business. He was a friend, someone who stayed in our house and looked after our kids. The impact is probably closer to 400,000 or 500,000, and we're still working through it to this day. But because my health was already on the right track, I stayed clear-headed and decisive through the entire crisis. So I had 3 scares, 3 transformations, and the same pattern every time is when your body breaks, everything else follows. And when your body is performing, you can handle absolutely anything. Operations on. Your body runs like a business. Same structure, same logic, same consequences when it breaks down. Every business has departments. Your body has cycles. Fix is operations, the daily energy and rhythm. This is where everything is run from. Clean is marketing, which is regulation and adaptation. Build is sales, where structure drives high performance. And reflect is finance, where you measure, report, and plan. Each department has teams, biological rhythms that drive the cycles. Office and field in operations, brand and lead generation in marketing, acquisition and retention in sales, reporting and strategy in finance. Your staff are the hormones. They run the rhythms. Energy and rhythm in operations, regulation, adaptation in marketing, structure and performance in sales, reflection and planning in finance. And every department has KPIs. You do all of this for your business without thinking twice. But most founders don't apply any of it to the system running their body. Remember this, you can set up multiple businesses, but you only ever get one body. So treat it right. The 6 layers of the primal pyramid spell system. And that's not an accident. The foundation, the widest part of the pyramid, is sustained energy, your metabolic base. If this is broken, nothing above it works. Then, youthful recovery, your circadian rhythm, your sleep, how your body repairs and operates daily. System regulation, which is neurological health, dopamine, serotonin, how you regulate the system so it doesn't burn you out. Next is training adaptation. This is the hormonal response to physical stress. Strength and endurance builds your capacity in your system. Environment structure, your daily work rhythms and how you organize time and environment. And at the top, matured longevity, the long game and the final 5%. This is compounding all the layers below with enhanced longevity supplements and tools. You fix from the bottom up, just like building a business. Foundations first, optimization last. Think form, storm, norm, perform, the 4 business cycles. We measure this entirely by our primal age score, which is the first unified biological age score combining functional, physical, and cellular health. So here's the assumption I carried for 2 decades. More supplements equals better health. I had a huge stack to prove it, and it became so normal, I never questioned it. But underneath all of that was a deeper problem. I had been taking supplements for so long that I no longer knew what my body actually needed, what was working, what was doing bugger all, and what might be masking a real issue. So I asked myself a question nobody in the supplement industry wants you to ask. What happens if I remove everything? This wasn't a detox. This was a system diagnostic. The same way you'd audit a business before making strategic decisions. On December 8th, I stopped taking supplements entirely. The only thing I kept were food, coffee, and my existing training routine. But here's what made this different. I tracked everything. Whoop was on my wrist 24/7, a full blood panel through Thriva and Bluecrest, a continuous glucose monitor for 2 weeks, body composition tracking, and daily behavioral measures. I wasn't guessing, I was measuring, because if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. What actually happened when I stripped away everything? 6 things. Number 1, my system was actually healthy. This was the biggest relief. I genuinely worried that supplements might have been masking dysfunction. They weren't. My foundations, sleep, training, circadian rhythm, nutrition, those were doing the real work. Number 2, supplements were not fixing a broken system. When I removed them, my body didn't collapse. That told me the foundations that I built were solid. The supplements were sitting on top of a good system, not propping up a bad one. Number 3, my energy dropped in the afternoons. This wasn't dramatic, but it was noticeable. This was actually useful information. It told me certain supplements were genuinely enhancing my performance and they weren't an expensive placebo. Number 4, I got sick twice. This was unusual. I normally never get ill. My wife got the same thing and it took her about 3 weeks to recover. Mine lasted about a week each time. The first illness also overlapped with the start of my CGM data, which is worth noting. I raised a real question. Was there a genuine immune resilience buffer that I'd removed? Number 5, my body fat went from 15 to 17%. On a good diet, near zero alcohol, good training consistency, that 2% shift in the wrong direction told me fat metabolism had slowed without the supplement support. When I reintroduced the stack after the cleanse recently, I dropped back from 17% to 16% body fat within 2 weeks. That's a measurable, repeatable signal. The supplements were actually doing real metabolic work. And then number 6, there were real withdrawal symptoms at the start. When you've been putting compounds into your system every day for 20 years and you stop overnight, your body bloody notices. So this is the glucose monitor data. 2 weeks of wearing a sensor that reads your blood sugar every 5 minutes. So I had 96% time in range. That means my blood sugar stayed between the healthy guardrails almost all of the time. 10 out of 14 days were actually at 100%, perfect glucose control all day. Average glucose was 118. I was aiming for between 120 and 140. Time above range was just 1%. And for context, this is excellent metabolic health. CGMs are not just for diabetics. One note that I want to mention is I've mentioned it before that I was ill during the first part of this CGM period, which may have affected some of the early data. And during that illness was when I had my only spike of glucose during the 2 weeks. So the big findings: rice was handled well, bread caused larger spikes. So clean starches work for me, refined carbs don't. Fasted training at 6 in the morning didn't cause any glucose crashes. The data confirmed that this works for me. Metabolic flexibility was strong, meaning my body switches between burning fat and carbs efficiently. That's one of the strongest indicators of metabolic health there. And here's the key insight. There was no hidden metabolic dysfunction, which means my main longevity risk isn't glucose related. It's cardiovascular and inflammatory. That single finding governs everything I do now. Every supplement, every protocol, every single decision. The blood markers tell me the full story. And for anyone listening on audio, I'll describe what you'll see on screen. It's a table with 8 key markers, each coded green, yellow, or red. 4 are green: strong HbA1c, thyroid, liver, and vitamin D. The metabolic and organ picture here is solid. That's the foundation I have that's working really well. The 4 that need work, and this is where it gets interesting for longevity. ApoB, this is the single best predictor of heart disease risk. Mine is good by standard medical definitions, but for someone targeting optimal longevity, it needs to come down a bit further. HSCRP, this is a marker of systemic inflammation. Acceptable by normal standards. Ferritin increases oxidative ferritin. This is a big one. Elevated ferritin, which is basically iron, is oxidative stress, cardiovascular risk, and it's associated with accelerated biological aging. This is my number one priority now. And the intervention is blood donations, which I do mostly, but actually I've stopped doing them a bit recently. So I need to start those back up every 8 to 10 weeks at a minimum. Testosterone, which is normal by medical standards, but normal at 41 is not optimal. I want upper quartile naturally through sleep, training, and targeted supplementation. The key takeaway: the main longevity risk is cardiovascular and inflammatory, not metabolic. The CGM confirmed that from one angle. The blood markers confirmed it from another. That's why everything in my current system targets these key specific areas. This is the Whoop data for the cleanse, real continuous data. Recovery was averaging 70% with 0 days in the red period. That means the training load, sleep protocol, and recovery tools are well calibrated. No days where my body was critically under-recovered. Resting heart rate trending at 50 beats per minute, which is strong cardiovascular fitness for a 41-year-old. HRV at 52 and trending upward. That reflects good recovery capacity and nervous system health. And then we've got sleep architecture. This is where it gets interesting. 113 minutes of deep sleep per night on average. For context, most men my age are getting 60 to 80 minutes. This is exceptional, and it's directly supported by the evening supplement stack, the sauna timing, and circadian consistency, along with 0 alcohol. REM sleep at 103 minutes, which means sleep efficiency at 94%, is almost 0 wasted time in bed. And that's really important to note. Training was three strength sessions a week, 3 running sessions a week, mixing zone 2 and HIIT, and then 15,000 steps per day, there or thereabouts. And the behavioral data, I had 0 alcohol within last 30 days, 0 food close to bedtime within the last 30 days. And these are controllable inputs that make everything else work, because late food and alcohol can massively impact your sleep and recovery. So now I had the data. I knew what my body actually needed, and I knew what was noise. So the new rule was simple. If it doesn't move a biomarker, it doesn't stay. Think about it like your systems and software in your business. You don't keep subscriptions out of habit. Every tool has a job. Every platform gets reviewed. If it doesn't move a number, the subscription gets cancelled. Same principle. Every supplement now delivers something specific. Every compound targets a KPI in my body. And every 12 weeks, I review the blood work to see if it's earned its place. That's the difference between a random supplement stack and a data-driven system. This is the first half of my daily structure, the morning hours. 4:30 to 7:30, this is what I'm going to measure. So I wake up at 4:30, 500 mils of hydrogen water and Celtic sea salt on my tongue. Then I take my morning supplement stack straight away with high polyphenol extra virgin olive oil. And I do my mobility work. So dead hanging, back stretching, shoulder mobility. This is about injury prevention and keeping my posture right. At 5 o'clock, I read, journal, and I sit in front of my sad light. Morning light exposure is one of the most powerful things you can do for your biology. It sets your circadian clock for the whole day, and it tells your body when to be alert, when to produce cortisol, and it directly affects how well you sleep 16 hours later. At 6 a.m., I do fasted training, strength, zone 2 or HIIT, depending on the day. The CGM confirmed my body handles fasted training without any glucose issues. 7:30, I have my bulletproof coffee. Caffeine is deliberately delayed by 90 minutes to 2 hours after waking. This is actually 3 hours to protect adenosine receptor sensitivity. Adenosine is what makes you tired, and caffeine blocks those receptors. If you block them too early when they're not active, then caffeine is basically doing nothing. The coffee includes MCT oil for ketone production, collagen, L-theanine to flatten the caffeine curve, and taurine for neurological support. That's the morning foundation hours. Set the rhythm, everything else follows. This is the second half of the day. I have my first meal at 10, eggs, minimum 4 to 5 daily, meat, vegetables, protein first. Everything is governed by the NOVA processed food framework. 70% is always unprocessed. Final meal then is 3 to 4 p.m. Then the eating window closes. 6 hours of eating, 18 hours of fasting every day. The CGM confirmed my body handles this well with strong metabolic flexibility. From about 5 p.m., I start reducing the light around me. And then by 6, I put blue blocking glasses that go on my face. This is critical for melatonin production. The morning light at 5 a.m. started the circadian clock. The evening light blocking then completes it. At 7:30, I take my evening supplement stack with chamomile tea. Magnesium glycinate and 3 and 8 for deep sleep, glycine for core temperature drop, and ashwagandha for cortisol suppression. And then I have curcumin for inflammation. By 8:30, I'm asleep. What gets me 95% sleep efficiency and high restorative sleep. Morning light in, evening light out. That's the circadian structure that runs everything. So instead of listing supplements randomly, let me show you how they're grouped by the reason they're in my stack. So cardiovascular and ApoB protection, which is my omega-3, aged garlic extract, citrus bergamot, and taurine. 4 compounds, all targeting the same priority. Then we have inflammation and CRP. This is your curcumin, supported by omega-3, aged garlic, and then some compounds do double duty across different priorities. You've got testosterone and hormonal support, which is like your tonkat ali, boron, zinc, and ashwagandha. They're all natural and all targeted. Then you have mitochondrial function and energy, which is CoQ10 ubiquinol, NMN, creatine, and taurine. These all support the cellular engine. Then we got methylation and DNA support. This is specifically TMG, and this supports the methylation group, and it's demanded by and created by the previous group of mitochondria and energy. So this is just what supports that mitochondria within my DNA. Then we've got the sleep and nervous system, which is the magnesium glycinate and threonate, glycine, and ashwagandha again. This is my evening stack, and these directly support the sleep architecture you see in the Whoop data. And then I've got my bone and immune, which is your vitamin D plus K2. This absolutely supports everything that I do throughout the day. And every compound is grounded by its job, not taken randomly. And the ones that didn't earn their place, which is the generic multivitamin, which I used to take every day, resveratrol, PQQ, Fedosia, and Shilajit, they're all gone. They didn't earn their place within my stack. They're not worth the price for me. They might be for you, but they weren't for me. Add-ons. So, health tools. These are not optional add-ons. They're active infrastructure, like having systems in your business. Sauna four times a week near bedtime. The core temperature drop after heat exposure accelerates sleep onset and deepens early sleep cycles. That directly is reflected in my amount of deep sleep that I get every single night. Cold exposure 3 times a week, but critically, never after strength training. Cold blunts inflammatory signal your muscles need to grow. So timing really matters here. Walking every day, which is ideally doing after meals. This is glucose management tool. Even 10 minutes flattens the post-meal spike. 29 sessions in 30 days is what I have, and I average about 15,000 steps a day. It's a daily habit, not an occasional effort. I fast for 18 hours a day, so my eating windows you've seen before is 10 a.m. to 4 p.m, and the CGM confirmed this works for my metabolism. I'm then going to do a blood donation at least every 8 to 10 weeks. This is the primary strategy for managing my ferritin and my iron within my body. It's not a supplement, it's a systemic intervention. And then lastly, we've got electrolytes. So I have Celtic sea salt and an electrolyte balance after every training session. This directly supports my HRV and, more importantly, my recovery. So the graduation report and what our clients get at the end of their 12 weeks. This is part of it. This is the executive dashboard from my graduation report that I've created for myself, which we give to our clients. So for anyone listening on audio, imagine a 1-page summary of the entire 12-week cycle. At the top, we got 3 numbers: chronological age, which I was 41, my primal age now, which is how we measure our age, and my years reclaimed. In one cycle, the data shows I've reclaimed over 8 years of biological age. Below that, we have department performance, then the primary longevity risks, and finally, the next cycle focus. So you have 4 clear objectives. This is what every client walks away with, not just where they are, but exactly what to do next. So this page shows how biological age moves over each cycle. And this is the core concept behind everything we do. Primal age is not a feeling. It's calculated from objective data. So wearable metrics, cellular markers, and body composition. It's specific, it's measurable, and it moves in both directions. You can earn years back or you can lose them. This is the first unified biological age score across 3 core areas of aging. Nothing happens by accident. It happens because the system was followed or not. If you follow consistently with data governing decision, guess what? Your age moves backwards. The question for you is, do you know how old you are right now, and which direction is it moving? Are you aging faster than you should be? So this is the final page, the next 12-week plan, because the system never stops. Your business is planned in quarters. Your body should be planned in quarters. Every client finishes their cycle with clear objectives and key results for the next quarter, the next cycle. The same structure you'd use in your business quarterly plan. Operations targets to keep the foundation strong, marketing targets to increase capacity of your system, and sales targets to compound the results that you need for the future. This is how the system works. 12-week cycles: measure, decide, execute, repeat. Your body is a business. Fucking run it like one. This is the system in action. The right food, the right training, and the right recovery will ultimately see you to the right age. And this is the real hierarchy. I'm going to walk you through each level. So, number one, we have sleep. Then, number two, we have nutrition. Number three, daily movement. Number four, training. Five, recovery tools. Six, biomarkers. And then finally, supplements are last. Do not add supplements until you have got all of those first six things in place. The night shift team, inventory management, the circulation system, the marketing engine, maintenance and repairs, the financial reports, and then software optimization, which is exactly, again, what you would do in your business. One more thing before we close. This system does not reward intensity. I've done intensity, ambition in short bursts followed by burnout. That was my pattern for 20 years. It doesn't work. This system rewards consistency. Small things done right every single day. The system does not reward willpower. It rewards environment. Structure your day so the right decision happens automatically. I don't decide whether to train at 6 a.m. It just what happens. I don't decide whether to eat after 4 p.m. It just doesn't happen. The window closes. Every environment beats willpower every single time. The system doesn't reward feelings. It rewards data. Measure, interpret, decide, implement, remeasure. The same feedback loop you'd run in your business. Apply it to your biology. This is what I learned from stripping everything away and rebuilding from the data up. Everything I've shown you today, the data, the protocols, the supplements, the training, the structure, none of it matters unless you understand why. I'm a husband, a father, a founder, and longevity is the highest form of providing. Being present, being sharp, being truly alive, not just for the next quarter, but for the next 40 or even 50 years. So here's my question for you. And this applies whether you're watching this on YouTube, listening on the podcast, or if you're on a live call. Are you aging faster than you should be? Most founders don't know the answer. They assume they're fine because they're still showing up. But showing up and thriving are not the same thing. I was showing up for years while my body was quietly declining. The data showed me the truth. I've built a free tool called the Primal Age Score. It takes about 5 minutes. No fluff, no sales pitch, just an honest diagnostic of where your body actually stands right now, based on the things that actually matter for longevity. Take it, see your score, and if it's lower than you expected, you'll know exactly where to start. The link is in the description. And if this was useful, like it, subscribe, and share it with a founder who needs to hear it. This is the 1 year special, and thanks for being here. Let's see how many optimal years of life we can claim back together over the years. And remember, be young, be happy, and be free, people. I'll see you on the next episode.